When the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth? Introduction. What is faith in God, or to have faith in God? Faith is a gift from above, from God, a supernatural gift that is not the result of works. Ephesians 2:8-9, Revised Standard Version, Second Catholic Edition. The word for us is trust in God, in Jesus Christ's promise of salvation. Faith becomes in us a present reality when we allow grace to make us steadily more virtuous and holy. On top of this, if you strive to consolidate your faith in God through a godly living in Jesus Christ, you will suffer persecution. 2 Timothy 3:12. Persecution has many forms, and it can seriously hinder or even destroy our faith through the mental snares of Satan, who attacks relentlessly our minds, trying to infiltrate our thoughts constantly. Understanding faith. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1, Revised Standard Version, Catholic Edition. Faith is not a rational belief, because it does not rest in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. 1 Corinthians 2:5, Revised Standard Version, Second Catholic Edition. Faith and belief are not the same thing. The gift of faith is given through the Spirit. Faith is a way for the Spirit to communicate with your spirit. When faith communicates with your spirit, it then persuades your mind, intellect, and emotions. We must always be receiving the gift of grace through faith. Grace is the ability to do for you what you can't do for yourself. This is a good thing. Understanding Faith, Part 1, 2023, gthchurch.com. Faith in our world. We live in an increasingly secular society. According to the Pew Research Center, 1.1 billion people worldwide identified as non-believers. Many others superficially identify with Christianity, but rarely pray, read the Bible, or otherwise act on their faith. The statistics highlighted above reflect what Christians increasingly feel: a lack of faith within their communities and often within their own lives. 2019 Geneva College. The life of faith is nothing if not an unending struggle of the Spirit with every available weapon against the flesh. Dietrich Bonhoeffer. We, as followers of Jesus, must understand that this earth is not a playground, it's a battleground. All of us need an anchor that will hold us during the storms of life. That anchor is our faith. Where do we find a faith strong enough to make it through the storms of life? The Apostle Peter told us that it is important to anchor our faith in Christ because we will look where faith in Christ is kept, in heaven. Lifeway 2014. Faith in Christ gives you a new identity and a new hope. Mark Rooney, Armand 2021. Keeping the faith. To the Apostle Paul, faith must make a difference in how we live. If you are a Christian, you are in a fierce war. You are in a life and death battle for your faith. Satan is determined to shipwreck and destroy the faith of all of God's elect. Nothing poses a greater threat to Satan's kingdom than a Christian who is unmovable in faith. World Challenge 2023. Satan is a formidable enemy. His demons have constructed attitudes, institutions, systems, and entertainments into the course of this world, which they effectively use against us. We need to remember, though, that God has put a wall of protection around us so demons can go only so far in their attempts. How do we hold our ground? We must return in thought to 1 Peter 5:9, who said, "Resist him firm in your faith." John W. Rittenbach, 2023. He who through faith is righteous shall live, affirmed the Apostle Paul of Tarsus in Romans 1:17, Revised Standard Version, 2nd Catholic Edition. Faith as a concept. Faith is not belief, and belief is not faith. One comes from the mind, and the other from the heart. The soul is the life of the body. Faith is the life of the soul, and Christ is the life of faith. James Oakley. Most of the time in our lives we use faith as a concept. Concepts are not coming from the mind of God. On this subject, the Apostle Paul in Romans 14:23 affirmed, "For whatever does not proceed from faith is sin." Revised Standard Version, 2nd Catholic Edition. The first humans failed their test of faith. They trusted what they saw rather than believing what God said, His words. And they became the first example of man choosing to walk by sight rather than by faith. Pat Higgins, 2004. Faith, the life of our soul, and Christ, the life of our faith, both dwell within our hearts. The life of faith. Paul uses faith to mean loyalty and fidelity, that which we would more naturally call faithfulness. Christianity is the faith. Allegiance to a person, not a creed. Scott Chaffee, 2010. Paul's concept of faith, HeartQuest101.com. The Apostle James affirmed that faith without works is dead. What does it profit, my brethren, if a man says he has faith but he has not works? Can his faith save him? James 2:14 Revised Standard Version, Second Catholic Edition. A recent Barna poll revealed that over 80% of Americans believe God exists, but that belief has little influence on their conduct. Just about anything goes in this nation anymore. The great immortality or the great immorality of the American people reveals that they are not very concerned about being answerable to God. John W. Rittenbach, 2023. Faith is the acknowledgement to God that I don't have the ability. Faith begins where your ability stops. Understanding Faith, Part 1, 2023, gthchurch.com. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and give glory to our Father who is in heaven. Matthew 5:16 Revised Standard Version, Second Catholic Edition.